This is Skip Unleashed, brought to you by Underdog. I dare you to tell me I'm wrong about this. I double dare you to poke a single hole in the open and shut case I'm about to make. Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt University should win this year's Heisman Trophy by a landslide. I dare you to tell me I'm wrong. Diego Pavia is now a close third in the odds. Of course, behind Fernando Mendoza of Indiana, Julian Sayin of Ohio State. But Diego Pavia has done so much more than those two, with so much less around him, against so much tougher competition on a schedule. And yes, elephant in the room, I am a Vanderbilt graduate. But in this case, my Vandy ties only strengthen the credibility of my case because I have watched every snap Diego Pavia has taken over the last 2 seasons at Vanderbilt. And I know how historically hard it has been for an academic institution, a last bastion of SEC academics, a private school, to win a single game each year in the Southeastern Conference in football. We have been the perennial SEC football doormat. And the only case you can make against Diego Pavia is we can't have a Heisman Trophy winner in football from Vanderbilt, from some Harvard of the South. Actually, Harvard is the Vanderbilt of the North, but that's a whole nother case that I could make. I just want you to understand that before this football season started, my school, Vanderbilt, in football was picked to be 13th, to finish 13th in the SEC in football. That was a consensus pick, 13th in SEC football. We just finished 10-2, 10 wins, the most in school history. We just went 6-2 in the Southeastern Conference in football. Only losses at Alabama, at Texas. And Diego Pavia finished second in the nation in total yardage. Second in the nation in total yardage while playing in the Southeastern Conference 8 games. That's total yards and passing and rushing. For the record, Julian Sayin finished 30th in the country in total yards. Mendoza finished 42nd in the country in total yards. You just have to understand that starting last year with the monumental Vanderbilt upset of Alabama, that was in Nashville, and the near upset of Texas in Nashville, Diego Pavia, who transferred in from New Mexico State, portaled in, has changed the entire face of our football program just by his force of will on the football field. I tweeted again and again, if you follow me on X, I tweeted again and again, I have never ever seen anything in college football like Diego Pavia, especially on 3rd and long. He became a one-man magic act. He became the reincarnation of Houdini on the football field, the ultimate escape artist, just willing himself through tacklers for crucial yards, willed himself from a below-average passer a year ago to one of the best passers in the country this year, I've never seen anything like it. A year ago, I seriously doubted that Diego Pavia had any future in the National Football League, and now I don't doubt it at all. He'll be able to play pro football. He is height challenged. He's 5'10-ish, maybe. I'd give him 5'11", but stoutly put together at 205-ish. Tough, high school wrestling champion. He just has the it factor. He was by far the most exciting player in college football. And the only knock that you could even reach for against Diego Pavia is that you didn't watch him. That's the only way you can discount him, is by saying, well, I don't know. I didn't see him. If you watched one Diego Pavia game, you know what I know. You know he was it. He took the doormat and took it almost to the threshold of ultimate playoff greatness. And he did this with a program that can't compete recruiting portal-wise with these other football factories in the Southeastern Conference. He did it pretty much all by himself. And if nothing else, we came very close to being a playoff team. We almost certainly won't. But if nothing else, he earned a Heisman Trophy for all that he did, game after game after game. So just for the record, here's strength of schedule. Vanderbilt played the 22nd toughest schedule in the country this year. Indiana played the 45th toughest schedule, because clearly the SEC is just deeper and tougher than the Big Ten. Ohio State played the 46th toughest schedule. So again, Vanderbilt 22nd toughest, Indiana 45th, Ohio State 46th. Let's start with that. Then let's go to the fact that Julian Sayin started his career at Alabama, transferred in, sat for a year at Ohio State. He took over this year, obviously, a program that won last year's national championship and that is at least as loaded this year as it was a year ago. Julian Sayin has had a terrific year. He's completed 79% of his passes. He and his team, 4.5-point favorites to beat Indiana on Saturday, Big Ten championship game. Julian has 30 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But look who he's throwing to. Jeremiah Smith was an early to midseason Heisman favorite. He could be ultimately the first pick in the draft. And he forms a dynamic duo with Carnell Tate, who on Mel Kiper's most recent big board is ranked 6th overall. Mel's 6th overall in his draft big board. My God, you could have 2 top 5-ish receivers there on the same team that Julian Sayin is throwing to. No wonder he's completed 79% of his passes. Julian Sayin benefits from the number 1 overall defense in all of college football, featuring an Arvell Reese, who is 4th on Mel's big board, and Caleb Downs, the safety, who's 12th overall. Talk about a supporting cast. Julian Sayin is, maybe the 5th best player on his own team? And he could win the Heisman Trophy? Really? Just because he's at Ohio State? Come on, man. Fernando Mendoza transferred in this year, portaled in from Cal to take over at Indiana, which had already broken through a year ago when it went 11-2. So the groundwork had been laid. He didn't change the face, change the culture the way Diego Pavia did. Fernando Mendoza's had a terrific year. 72% completions, 32 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But look what he has. He has the number 2 defense in the country to Ohio State's number 1 defense. I don't know. I look at this and I just say, the degree of difficulty was so much lower for especially Julian and certainly Fernando, lower degrees of difficulty because of their situations and what was around them. The way they were bodyguarded, the way they were supporting casted, it's just not even close. So even the numbers that Fernando Mendoza put up, Diego Pavia has thrown for 450 more yards than Mendoza threw for. Diego Pavia has rushed for 600 more yards than Fernando Mendoza. It ain't even close. I'm sorry. Yeah, I said ain't, and I went to Vanderbilt. Sue me. QBR. Yeah, Julian Sain is number 1, and Fernando Mendoza is number 3, but Diego Pavia is number 4 in QBR in the nation, and he's playing against that schedule? Okay, so maybe you'll hold Diego's mouth against him, his swagger against him, his outrageous quotes against him. He did say before the year, he just spat the truth, that the Big Ten is overrated, that it can't hold a candle, in effect, to the SEC, and it just can't. He just spoke the truth. And then before the Alabama game, he said, if we just play up to our ability, we'll win this game convincingly at Alabama. And obviously that was nuclear bulletin board material for the Crimson Tide. But he has to say those things to make his team believe that they do have that kind of capability. He tried to write a big check that his team had to cash. And Vanderbilt did go to Alabama, who they had shocked a year ago, convincingly. And they went up 7-0 and were driving again, went on a 3rd and 10 play from Alabama's 13, up 7-0 in the first quarter. Diego Pavia took off on one of his escape acts. I don't know how he does it. It's just pure, he's magical. And he slips and he ducks and he darts up, under, and he's trying to get the first down. And Alabama got a fist on the football and dislodged it. Turnover in the red zone. He also had another interception turnover later in the red zone. Just trying to do a little bit too much, and Alabama finally seized back control and pulled away and won 30-14. But we were very close to going up 14-0, and if we had, I believe we would have won that game. That's how much that team believes in Diego Pavia. And then at Texas, we fell behind, and Diego Pavia pulled off a comeback for the ages. It was just pure wizardry. I just sat in awe. At Texas, we came back, and finally Texas hung on to win 34-31 after a late onside kick was in our hands. One of our receivers had hands on the ball and couldn't quite control it before it leaked out of bounds. Should have, trust me, if we recover that onside, we're going to win that game, because Diego Pavia was unstoppable at that point. He wound up at Texas going 27 of 38 for 365. Don't think he can throw. 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. And we barely lost to Texas 34-31. Then came Auburn. We beat Auburn's a very talented football team. They lost Cam Coleman early against Alabama, or I think they would have won that game. They almost did anyway. We beat Auburn in overtime 45-38. Cam Coleman was unstoppable, but so was Diego Pavia, even more so. Diego went 25 of 33 against an NFL-loaded defense. 25 of 33 for 377, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He also ran the ball against Auburn 18 times for 112 yards. Game over. I'm sorry, landslide Heisman winner. Then Kentucky is our next SEC opponent. This is down the stretch of the year. We won 45-17. Kentucky's not that bad. Diego goes 33 of 39 for 484, 5 touchdowns to just 1 pick. And then against our arch rival in the year-ender, a talented Tennessee team, a dangerous Tennessee team, especially at home, a team that despises everything Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia went 19 of 28 for 268 and ran it 20 times for 165 yards. 20 for 165. No, he doesn't run 4.2, but he's football fast, and he's Emmitt Smith quick in confined spaces, as Norv Turner used to tell me about Emmitt Smith back in my Dallas Dynasty days. Quickest ever in a confined space. This kind of shifty quickness where you can't quite get a hold of him between the tackles, and he's loose. Diego Pavia is loose. He just makes plays. Magical playmaker. Just look at the numbers. As his coach Clark Lee said after the Tennessee game, he has a unique ability to take games over. He just does. SEC games, trust me on this, he scares the hell out of SEC teams. He scared the hell out of Alabama's coaching staff. He scared the hell out of Steve Sarkisian's Texas coaching staff. I've never seen anything like Diego Pavia. So much more with so much less. I assume most people are sitting back who didn't watch Diego Pavia and do have a Heisman vote and probably thinking, well, I'll watch these guys play in the Big Ten championship game, and whoever wins, I'll vote for him. So I'm pretty sure Ohio State will win this game. So you're going to vote for Julian Sayin, who's throwing to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate with the #1 overall defense in all of college football having his back. You're going to vote for him for Heisman Trophy? Really? Over a guy who put Vanderbilt on the national map? Made them a thing? I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Diego Pavia should win the Heisman by a landslide. I'll stake my reputation on that. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've watched a whole lot of football, a lot of pro football, and a whole lot of college football in my time. I grew up an Oklahoma fan, and I saw dynasty football. I saw Heisman Trophy after Heisman Trophy after Heisman Trophy for my Oklahoma Sooners that I grew up living and dying for in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I went away to school to Vanderbilt. I'm going to say it one more time. I've never seen anything on a college football field at quarterback like Diego Pavia. It would be a crime if he doesn't win this year's Heisman Trophy.